Hey guys, I don't often mix work and my lock sport hobby, but I think this is an opportunity to share some information that really I think we're all going to find quite interesting. I know I do, both as a professional and as a lock sport picker. Anyway, I just received this. It came as at work when we placed an order. This was in it, along with a letter. And this is from Peterson. I don't think you can read that, but anyway, I'll read it to you. It says, "Sir, enclosed you will find a pre-release sample of Peterson's new Ultimate Pick Set. Please evaluate it for 30 days and return it, along with any comments, in the enclosed postage-paid envelope. As one of our largest customers, we place very high value on any comments or recommendations you may have, blah, blah, blah. This pick set is unique in a number of ways. Number one, this set is made out of electroless nickel, an industry first, which provides several advantages. It is, quote, slicker, unquote, than traditional steels, gliding into the keyway with little resistance and providing a higher level of feedback. Number two, our new finishing process leaves a very high quality finish on the pick's edges, again providing better feedback and requiring no sanding or polishing by the user. Number three, this pick set introduces several new tools, most notably the new family of hooks. This set will be offered in 4 levels: silver, gold, platinum, and ultimate, with a target price points of $179, $219, $229, and $249. I'll do everything possible to maintain these price points, but the final price depends on your feedback. For example, adding or deleting kit components may influence the final price, close parentheses. The expected announcement of this new product is 1 December 2012, so please send your comments and recommendations before that date so I can incorporate them into the final product release. Thank you. Ken Pearson, owner, Peterson International." All right, so there it is. I'm going to do a break, and then I'm going to divide all of these out just as I did before on the fall pick review, and then we're going to discuss them one at a time. So if you're not interested, now's a good time to tune out. Stand by. All right, guys, I had to raise the camera to fit everything in a little bit higher on the tripod, so I think you can see the legs down there. But before I begin, I think I need to tell you I'm not affiliated with Peterson. I don't own stock in the company. I will not even get to keep this set. I do have to return it. But we do buy our agency buys a lot of Peterson stuff because it lasts. Costs a little more, but we find that it's worth it. But that's neither here nor there. That's purely my opinion. Anyway, this is they call it the Phoenix, and I didn't notice this until after I had thrown the bag down. They call it the Phoenix Ultimate GSP Pick Set, and I guess that bottom part there, the P Ultimate GSP, is probably their Peterson stock number. It comes in that bag. Everything comes packed in the standard Peterson trifold. Very nice leather case, little flap holds everything in so nothing falls out. I've been using these for years, and I have no issues with it whatsoever. It's just, you can't destroy it. Very well sewn, double stitched, everything is really nice. So it's jam-packed, and I didn't realize how much stuff there was until I actually started laying everything out here on the mat so I could describe it with you. Anyway, what are we looking at? Well, I've kind of arranged everything, and I didn't realize that Peterson was using a color code until I got it all laid out. The blue handle ones that you see here are all very thin blade. They're all 15 thousandths of an inch. They're pretty flexy. And I do have these, but I don't know, I'm a little slow. I just didn't put the color together with the thinness. I just knew I keep thin ones on one side of my folio, and I keep the thick ones on the other, and I guess the blue ones are it. Anyway, you get for Euro cylinders or stuff with very tight warding, I find that these, like Bergwachter and some of those, these are my go-to picks because they can slide in between the warding. 15 thousandths, and then they correspond to the ones in this column, which are 25 thousandths of an inch thick. It's exactly the same, except the metal is just a little bit thicker, a little more durable. So in both sets, you're going to get the snake rake. You're going to get, I don't know what Peterson calls these. I call it an L rake. You get the standard hook, and this is, for me personally, I really like this hook. You get a diamond, and I don't use a diamond very much, so I can't say a lot about it. Only in the 15 thousandths do you get this hook, and I don't know what the name of it is. It's just a fat rounded end hook. You don't get it in the 25,000, so that's why I've kind of left that blank there. You get a Peterson gem both in the 15,000s and the 25. And then a tool that I'm finding more and more useful for deeply warded or when I'm playing with medicos are these. And Peterson calls it the reach tool, and I think Fall Safe calls it their curved pick. But anyway, that's pretty useful. With the red handles you see on the left, we'll talk more about those later, but again, you get a hook, you get a diamond, and you get the snake. And these are what he calls the decap. And decap stands for deep cut access pick. And there's actually another one in this set. And we'll talk more about those probably in a later review because they are pretty useful. Okay, so we've talked about what's common in the 15,000s and in the 25,000s. In the 25 you get a few more things, and these are pretty interesting. You get a deforest pick. I don't know what Peterson calls it, but I think that's how I refer to it, deforest pick. And then these are very interesting to me because I love hooks. I love hooks of all kinds, and again, this is very much like what I paid a lot of money for in the Fall Safe kit that I bought and reviewed earlier. It's almost a probe. You just have a very slight, in fact, let me hold it up so you can get a close look. And you know, that's probably the same as the Fall Safe, probably 1 or perhaps 2 curve. And then again a little bit more. This would probably be the 3. And again, I'm guessing on these numbers. And then you get something with a little bit more curve. And then of course the thing that looks pretty much like a postal hook. Now the thing about these hooks, as I'm laying them out, I'm comparing them. So when I take the new, by the way, these are all 4 new. I've never seen any of these in any of the Peterson kits, and I think these are absolutely brand new. So when we put them up and we set them side by side, I mean line them up, you'll notice that these new hooks are just a little bit shorter. And again, I don't know, they're both 25,000s. Maybe give you a little more feedback, a little more leverage, I don't know. But anyway, I think I'm going to enjoy using those hooks. Okay, if that's not enough, on the right we get a wide variety of rakes. Again, we get basically the same 3 rakes that are in the Fall Safe kit. Oops, well, hard to do this around the camera, but there we go. We got the rise in the middle, we got the dip in the middle, so we got, and then the arcing from low to high. So same, almost identical. These are just slightly smaller. And then we have another kinetic. I think Peterson calls this the W, so I guess I should orient it like that. But this is how I put it in. Again, if you're going to do raking or you're going to do the zipping, this is a pretty good tool. I occasionally use it instead of the hook. And then if you run into trouble, these included a couple of extraction tools. So we have the standard extraction, and then this one is one I have never used this before. Let me hold it against the backing. This is a spiral extractor, and it's very, very fine, but I don't even know if you can see it, but it's actually threaded, and it's a really hardened metal. And I suppose you screw it in, and you can see as I'm screwing it's moving on the left of my fingers there. Screw it into the keyway to get it behind the key, and then of course extract it. So I can see how that would work and could come in useful. I've never used it though, so I can't attest to that. And then, last but not least, Peterson throws in a Peterson knife to help you do some of the bypasses for unshielded padlocks. Okay, you'll notice on the bottom right here we have included as a variety of different tension tools. Now, I have these in all of my kits, and these are the Peterson Pry Bars. I think you guys probably all have these. I measured these, they looked identical, but when you look at the side of them, you'll see that one is slightly thicker. So on the Peterson Pry Bars, you've got one that's 50,000, and I think that's the original pry bar. And then there's the Pry Bar Lite, which is 40,000, and that's really the one that I carry in almost all my kits. I've never seen the 50, I never had one until I got to play with this one just a little bit a few minutes ago. So between those two, you should be able to fit into the top of most keyways. There's another one also, this one is also 30,000, and it does not have the serrations on it. It's smooth on both ends. Oops. So, you know, kind of flexible, gives you another option to play with. You only get one of those. The next thing you get, again, I thought these were duplicates until I pulled out the micrometer. These are pretty interesting looking. You'll notice it has the serrations, I don't even know if we can get that to focus, but serrations on the outside, and they're identical in every dimension except the thickness. One of these is 30 thousandths. Yeah, this one is 30 thousandths. And then if you want more flex, this one is 15 thousandths. So you can have it stiff or you can have it flexy, either way. Same with these. These also are identical in every dimension except the thickness, and it's the same thicknesses. The only difference here is the width of the individual heads is much narrower. So if you have a very narrow keyway you can't afford to slip out of, these little serrations, I think, will probably do a good job of keeping it from falling out. And then another tool that I've never seen are these two little, look like standard tension wrenches until you stand them on the end and you take a close look. They're different widths, and if I get the light just right, very fine serrations, and the serrations are actually wider than the pick handle itself. So if you have a keyway where you just absolutely can't afford to slip out, which is almost everything I open, this might be a real powerful go-to tool. I'm definitely going to play with these quite a bit because I'm tired of tension wrenches falling out. And if those serrations help me in the least, I'm sure going to buy some of these. Maybe Peterson won't notice if when I return the kit, these aren't in there. Okay, so that's pretty much everything in this kit. I think well, there's some good things. A lot of good things. The handles on these, I know it's hard to get texture, but these are the hard plastic handles, which I really prefer. We made a mistake. We bought a bunch of G4 kits, the government Model 4 kits that had a lot of these, but we bought them with the black rubber handles, and it turned out, it sounded like a good idea, but it turned out to be a bad idea because those rubber handles, at least to me, again, this is my personal opinion, rubber handles don't give the feedback. They absorb some of the minuscule, the tiny little vibrations that you get back when you're picking a lock. That rubber kind of absorbed it. So we've since made a conscious decision to go only with the plastic, and I just love the plastic. They don't seem to detract at all from any of the vibrations or the feel. So I think it's a good idea that he moved to the plastic, and I hope all of the other kits also come with plastic handles. In Peterson's letter, he did say, our new finishing process leaves a very high quality finish on the pick's edges, again providing better feedback and requiring no sanding or polishing. So I took, that got my attention because every time I buy a pick set, I've got to spend, like with the fall safe, I had to spend 4 hours polishing all of the edges to get all the rough laser cut edges off, so it did, so that I would get that feedback. Otherwise, it was like, every time I put it into a keyway, it was like sticking a hacksaw blade. This one, when I look closely at it, and I don't know if I can even get the camera to focus here. Let me get the background. This does have a very nice finish. It is not perfect, but it's as close to perfect as I think you're going to get. Now, does it require no action by me if I were to keep this set, or by you if you were to buy it? No, I think there's always room for improvement. You can still see some striations on there, so I think that will still, take a little bit of work to smooth it out. But I got to tell you, this is the best finish on any of the brands of picks that I've ever bought. The other thing he says is, again, going back to our letter, number one, this set's made out of electroless nickel, an industry first, which provides several advantages. It's, quote, slicker, his word, than traditional steels, gliding into keyway with little resistance and providing a higher level of feedback. When I rub these together, I've got to tell you, it really is, I can't measure it. There's no way to quantify this, but it just seems to be much smoother. I did pick a couple of locks after I read that and before I started the video. Again, feedback is a highly personal thing. It's really hard to judge or to give a quantitative analysis of. But to me, it did seem to slide in and out a little easier, but that's purely my opinion. When you rub them together, they do feel very glassy, unlike some of the other picks where you get that kind of the galling when you rub two pieces of metal together. This doesn't have that. And of course, he talked about the new family of hooks, and there they are. And I really like these. I I can't wait. I'm probably going to have to, don't tell my wife, but I'm going to have to buy these. I really like hooks, and this seems to be a pretty good assortment. So there you go. Are there bad things? Yeah. The bad thing is they are not maintenance free. I believe you will have to probably do just a little bit of sanding to perfectly round off all of the edges. So despite what the letter says and the bragging points, I think there's a little bit of room for improvement there. I also think it would have been nice to include like a Peterson knife. I don't have a real Peterson knife, but when I say Peterson knife, I mean the really thin, the 10,000th thick one, to use for decoding combination locks and to bypass a lot of combination locks. It's a low cost. I really would have liked to have seen one of those. I don't know how much it would add, but if I bought this kit, I think I would probably buy a Peterson knife to go with it. And the last thing I really would like to see, I'm a picker. I don't really rake a lot, but sometimes I do use a rake to get a fault set. And you can use, I suppose, these, but there's so many manufacturers today of different kinds of hooks, and these happen to be by Sparrows. I buy a lot of these because they're so durable. They're very thick, 25,000. Here we go recommending another company, and I'm not affiliated with Sparrows either, but these are very well executed. They're very durable, and I've learned to depend on them. To get a fake Bogota, they also very well finished. And they also have one called a worm, and that's this one. It looks like a Bogota, but it's slightly, if you look closely, just slightly rounded off. So usually if one doesn't work to get a fault set, the other one will. And I would have liked to have seen, something similar to these thrown into this kit. Again, if I buy it, I'm going to probably have to spend 10 or 15 bucks and get myself a couple of those rakes from Sparrows. Anyway, that's it. Now look into the price. This is labeled as the ultimate, and reading the letter, I'm assuming that this is the one he's going to try to price below $250, and he's got $249 here. Unless things change radically, I think this is what you can expect. If I look at the picks, I know what I paid for these before, which is roughly between $8 and $10 per pick. I know what the knife costs. I know what the extractors cost. The pry bars, I believe, are $8 a piece. When I look at the cost of this set, I don't even know what these cost, but when you add it up, it's well over, plus the $30 case, it's well over $300. So if he's asking $250 for it, I can't help but to think he's making a mistake. It seems to be, I would buy it at this price. When I buy my next kit, if I'm looking for an intact kit or a complete kit, this would probably be a good choice. It's got everything I would want. I spend a little bit more money, get myself a knife and a couple of rakes, and bam, I got everything. Anyway, I'm sorry to go on and on, but I was kind of excited. It's a chance to review something that nobody's seen yet. Be the first to get it out there for you to take a look at, get some detailed information about, so you can make an informed purchase decision if you're looking for a set of new picks, or you're trying to compare it to other companies. Anyway, thanks for your time. Everybody stay safe and stay legal.